Ethan Morgan had never been good at dating. At 35, he had built a quiet life around his work as a software engineer in Chicago. Code, coffee, and silence. His friends often teased him for being married to his laptop, so when his colleague Jake set him up on a blind date, Ethan reluctantly agreed. He arrived early at La Belle Vie, a warm little restaurant with flickering candles and jazz humming through the air. He wore his best navy shirt and a nervous smile. The hostess led him to a corner table for 2 minutes turned into half an hour. Then an hour. The empty chair across from him began to feel heavier than the wine glass he kept fiddling with. He kept checking his phone. No message, no call. His blind date never showed up. Ethan sighed, his chest tight with embarrassment. Around him, couples laughed softly, forks clinking against plates. He was the only one sitting alone. He waved the waiter over and said quietly, "Can I just get the bill, please?" But before the waiter could respond, a small voice beside him whispered, "Sir, are you waiting for someone?" He turned, surprised. A little girl, maybe 6 or 7, stood beside his table, holding a small pink teddy bear. Her big hazel eyes shimmered with curiosity. Ethan smiled faintly. "I was, but it seems they're not coming." The girl tilted her head. "That's sad. My mommy says good people shouldn't eat alone." Her words made him chuckle softly. "Your mommy sounds very kind." "She is," the girl said proudly. "She's over there." Ethan followed her tiny finger to another table across the room. A woman with soft brown hair and tired eyes was sitting alone too, sipping coffee and scrolling on her phone. Before Ethan could say anything, the little girl tugged on his sleeve. "You can come sit with us. Mommy doesn't like to eat alone either." He hesitated, unsure if it was appropriate. But the girl's innocence was disarming. She seemed so sincere that it felt wrong to decline. "All right," he said gently. "If your mom says it's okay." The little girl dashed off to her mother, whispering something excitedly. The woman looked up, surprised. Her eyes met Ethan's from across the room. There was hesitation, then a small, kind smile. She nodded. Ethan stood, picked up his coat, and walked over. "Hi," he said softly. "Your daughter is quite the ambassador." The woman chuckled. "She's very friendly. I hope she didn't bother you." "Not at all," Ethan said, smiling. "She might have just rescued my evening." They exchanged names. The woman was Rachel, a nurse at a nearby hospital. Her daughter's name was Lily. As they talked, Ethan learned that Rachel was a single mom. Her husband had passed away 3 years ago in a car accident, leaving her to raise Lily on her own. "I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight," Rachel admitted. "A friend insisted I take a night off and have dinner out. I almost didn't come." Ethan smiled faintly. "Seems like fate wanted both of us here." Dinner with Rachel and Lily turned out to be one of the warmest evenings Ethan had experienced in years. Lily kept making him laugh with her wild stories about kindergarten adventures and how she wanted to be a Dr. Princess firefighter. Rachel blushed every time Lily spoke too freely, but Ethan found her honesty refreshing. Rachel herself was quiet but warm, her laughter soft, her eyes kind but weary, like someone who had seen too much sadness yet still chose to smile. When the waiter brought dessert, Lily insisted Ethan try chocolate mousse because it makes sad people happy. Ethan couldn't help but laugh. "Then I'll take 2, please." They all shared dessert together, talking like old friends. Ethan forgot about the sting of his canceled date entirely. When it was time to leave, Rachel reached for her purse, but Ethan gently placed his hand on hers. "Please," he said softly, "let me. You and Lily already gave me company. That's worth more than dinner." Rachel looked at him for a long moment, then smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Ethan." That night, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about them. About Rachel's kindness, Lily's laughter, and how unexpectedly full his heart felt. 2 days later, his phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Greater than Rachel. Lily's been asking when she can see her new friend again. Do you like ice cream?" Ethan smiled wider than he had in years. That weekend, they met at a small park. Lily ran to him shouting, "Ethan!" and hugged his legs tightly. As the three of them sat on a bench, eating melting ice cream cones, Rachel looked at him and said softly, "You're good with her." She hasn't smiled like this in a long time. He shrugged lightly. "She's the one who saved me from a lonely dinner." I guess we're even. Their friendship deepened over the next few months. Movie nights, Sunday breakfasts, park walks. Ethan often helped Rachel fix things around her apartment, while Lily began calling him Uncle Ethan. Nearly a year later, on a sunny afternoon, they visited the same restaurant where they first met. It had become their special place. As they finished lunch, Lily leaned over to Ethan again, just like that first night. She whispered, "Ethan, I asked Santa for a new daddy. Do you think he heard me?" Ethan froze, the words catching in his chest. Rachel's eyes widened. "Lily," she said softly, embarrassed. "That's not something." But Ethan gently touched Rachel's hand. "It's okay." He looked at Lily and smiled. Maybe Santa just needed time to find the right one. Lily beamed and hugged him tightly. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to. I want to." Ethan interrupted gently. "I've never been surer of anything." He turned to Rachel. "I know this started by chance, but you and Lily, you've become my family. If you'll let me, I'd like to be there for both of you. Always." Tears slipped down Rachel's cheeks as she whispered, "Yes." Lily clapped her hands, laughing. "Yay, Santa did it." A year later, La Belle Vie hosted another dinner, but this time, it was for Ethan and Rachel's wedding reception. Lily wore a little white dress and threw flower petals everywhere. As Ethan held Rachel's hand, he whispered, "All of this happened because of one little girl's kindness." Rachel smiled. "And because you listened." Ethan looked down at Lily, who grinned up at him. "Guess I did." That night, under the same warm lights where he'd once sat alone, Ethan finally realized, sometimes, kindness doesn't just change a day. It changes a life.